Blessings, Leo, and welcome to my channel. You are watching Spotless Mind Tarot. My name is Cassandra, and today I will be your tarot reader. So in this reading, we're going to get a look at the year 2025 for you. I will be pulling a card for each month, and we're going to uncover the major theme or events that will occur for you month by month. This is good for Leo Sun, but you could also watch for your rising or your moon sign or any other placements. However, just your sun sign is good enough. So let's go ahead and get right into it, and let's pull a card for January. So this is really interesting. I feel like you can start the year off in a very dreamy Piscean state. It is ruled by Pisces. I think you're gonna be in your own little world. You're just gonna be in a place where you're kind of just doing your own thing. So this could be like you are in a very dreamy, rose-colored glasses kind of world, or you're just in your own space. You're kind of just, you could even just be in your own head, but overall, you're kind of just in your own little world either way. However that looks and however you go about doing it, that seems to be the theme for January. You could be in a really creative space as well. And so with that comes a bit of solitude, as it does take some personal space to be able to create things that come from within, that come from a place that you could only access through creativity, I suppose. You know, it's something that is, I guess you could say, a spiritual thing, and you're trying to bring it into the material reality. And so you kind of have to go within for that. You know, it's not something you can necessarily conjure or read books about. You just have to go into a place where no one else can really go but you. So that's pretty deep, actually. And I had to pause there and really think about what I wanted to say. And so that's what came out. I feel like there's not much to say for January, honestly. I mean, it seems inaccessible even for me. So I feel like it is really about you just tapping into yourself and going within in a very deep way. It doesn't necessarily mean you're gonna have the opportunity to really just be in solitude all the time, but I feel like you could kind of have your head in the clouds a bit. So you do want to be careful if that's not a life you typically live, that you're very cautious when you're out in public and you're being really dreamy or in your head. You want to be really aware of the world. So just, I guess when it's appropriate, you want to go deep within. All right, so that's what we have for January. For February, we got the Sun card. And so this is really interesting because in January, you seem to be a bit more elusive, a bit more kind of out of this world. And in February, we are brought to the Sun card. And so things could really pick up for you. So even for January, maybe you could have went through some kind of depression or some kind of loneliness, some sort of isolation. In February, I feel like you can come out of that now and really step into the light and really step into a place where you feel like a Leo, because essentially you guys are the sun. You guys are ruled by the sun. And so this is your natural state. This is your natural, I guess, even ability to be quite literally the sun, to be a star. You know, somebody that is just full of life, full of energy, full of excitement. And, you know, they like to perform. They like to be the center of attention or be on the stage, you know. They like to be able to provide, it's interesting. I guess they like to provide a sense of ego in some way. I don't know if that makes sense to anybody, but that's the best way I could describe it. February is looking really good. Things are starting to look up. Also, I just get like a sense this feels like after the storm, like the morning after, and the sun's coming out, because I kind of get a feel for like the wet earth and the wet ground, and then the sun's coming out and the clouds are disappearing, and like it just rained for days or something. So that could also be the vibe. That could also be, you know, that type of energy you're stepping into. It's like that feeling after it's rained for several days and the sun finally comes back out and everything's just kind of wet. That's kind of like everything's kind of moist. So yeah, like I guess that's also the vibe, moist. I don't know what that would mean to you, but yeah, that seems really inappropriate as well. So we're gonna move along. I feel like some of you also are maybe having birthdays. So some of you, maybe you are a Leo rising or a Leo moon, which is interesting because I know a lot of Leo moons. So shout out to all the Leo moons. I don't know what it is. I guess it's my 11th house. I just happen to attract a lot of people that happen to have their moon in Leo. And so, yeah, if you're having a birthday in February, then happy birthday. So, otherwise, a birthday could be of significance. It doesn't have to be your own, but maybe there's some kind of birthday that happens, and for whatever reason, it's really important or really significant to you in some way. So that's what we have for February. For March, we have the Queen of Cups, and so we move into a more Cancerian vibe in March, a more moody kind of feel as well. It's not like the vibe of January, but it is that watery energy that we're dealing with. And so in March, I feel like you're just gonna be a bit more moody for some reason, a bit more also just open about your feelings. This could be a month where you're really expressive of how you truly feel. And even if it isn't necessarily like sadness or love or anything like that, you're just expressing your excitement or you're expressing your anger, whatever it may be, you're just really moody. And so you want to be mindful of how other people are reacting. Maybe you want to be careful of who to be moody around. Like some people may not mind, but others may be quite annoyed by it. Also feel like there's going to be a lot of self-discovery here in March. And I think it has a lot to do with you just expressing yourself more. As the more you express yourself, the more you discover aspects of yourself. Like maybe you realize you're repeating the same thing over and over, the same words, the same kind of feeling, although, you know, like you're just catching on to that and you're realizing that you're kind of stuck in this cycle. So this is a good month to break out of cycles, to break old habits, to start new habits, you know, healthy habits. And you want to work with your 6th house on that, and whatever the sign is of your 6th house and whatever planets you have in there is how you can develop healthy habits and a new routine. So a routine could be pretty helpful for you in the month of March. If you are struggling to stay grounded, then just make a routine, make a schedule, you know, like a to-do list, a checklist, even if it's something really simple, you know, just like you're gonna do it in the next 5 minutes, like maybe write it down anyways, and kind of just get in the habit of like being mindful of your actions and being mindful of what you're doing and how I guess it benefits you, because we are talking about 6th house energy and just Cancer energy as well, which is also about care and nurture. So that's what we got for March. So for April, we got the Hanged Man in reverse. And it's interesting because this card kind of flew out and fell on the floor. I feel like in April, you can finally come out of that stuckness you've been in, that kind of watery, muddy wet earth kind of feeling, that moist feeling. I feel like you can finally come out of it now with the Hangman reverse. So in the reverse, it could suggest that you are coming out of this Hangman energy, which is related to Neptune. So it has a lot to do with like illusions and delusions and not really being here, not really being present, kind of just in the flow of things. It's very much to do with like energy and vibe, and it's all feeling. You can't really, I think that's why we all struggle to describe Neptune, because it's a feeling. Like you can't describe it, you have to feel it. There's really no words for it, because unless you can feel it, like you don't know it. Like you can't learn from it. It's nothing you can read. That's what it could be, but also it could just be your inability to accept certain things. Maybe you are gaslighting yourself, or maybe you are telling yourself things that aren't true just because it doesn't seem like it could be true. So if it is something that deals with the spiritual and deals with things that are hard to explain, be mindful of how you go about believing in it and the things you say about it. I feel like maybe you're struggling to accept that kind of reality does exist, or maybe you're struggling to handle that reality. So we do start the year in a very Piscean vibe, and so it is easy to get lost. So it's really interesting messages coming through. So yeah, you could just be really struggling with this Neptunian energy. And so, it's going to be different for everybody. So there are things that you need to accept, and also things that you need to let go, because obviously there are things that aren't true at all. And then there are things that are true, but they don't seem like they're true. Like it's too weird to be true, or it's too good to be true, or it doesn't make sense, so how could it be true? That seems to be what's going on for you here in April. But I do feel like you are coming to a place of realization, and also being grounded, because it is in reverse. You do have one foot on the ground, but you are still struggling here. It's almost like falling upwards. And it makes me think of this book called The Wrong Side of the Bed. And it's actually like one of my favorite children's book. It was a cool book when I was a kid. And it like basically the images in the book are pretty cool, because they're kind of quite, they are, I guess, pretty Piscean. They're kind of just like different and weird and vibey. And this kid basically wakes up on the wrong side of the bed, and he struggles to walk around the earth and move around the place, because he's upside down while everyone is like right side up, because he woke up on the wrong side of the bed, so he's upside down in the world. And so it's kind of cool. It's a really cute book. So that's kind of like the vibe I'm getting as well. It's like you woke up on the wrong side of the bed, and like you're the only one, like you're the one walking around upside down. So that's what it could feel like, to where like, yeah, you are grounded, you're not actually walking upside down, and that, but you are kind of just in between. I guess you could say you're like in between worlds, or in between spaces. So that's what I got for April. For May, we got the Magician, and so for May, you seem to be stepping into your power, stepping into a place of taking control, especially after all we've been through so far. This is a month where you can finally stop and take control. I feel like you can finally get off the train now, basically. You can finally just catch your breath. And so I think that's pretty cool for May. This is a springtime, and so this is a good time to initiate new beginnings and to plant seeds and, get things going. You could be dealing with a Gemini here, or with the energy and representation of the Gemini archetype, as we are dealing with Mercury when it comes to the Magician. So things you say could be quite powerful. You could quite speak things into existence, but also the way you communicate and what you're communicating is really, really important for you in April. It's important that you're very clear about your statements, because when it comes to magic, your words are everything. And so I think that's why certain ways of doing magic can be so powerful, such as speaking in Hebrew or speaking in Latin, because of the way the words are used, especially in Hebrew, where you can apply numbers to like every letter and every word. And so like what you say and how you say it when it comes to casting a spell is really important. Even in English, of course, or just in any language, it doesn't matter. But just giving an example of how powerful words can be and how powerful language can be as well. I feel like this is a month where you are finally grounded. You do finally feel secure and very confident in yourself. I feel like you're finally coming around to yourself as well. You could also be coming around to a decision that you have to make, or you're finally accepting something. So there seems to be some kind of acceptance going on here. There seems to be an ability to agree with a situation that you didn't agree with before. Overall, I feel like you can gain control over your life or a situation, or even the way you feel about something. So that's what I got for April. So as I was shuffling for May, a bunch of cards fell, and one of the cards was the Tower. And so I don't mean to laugh, but maybe May could have some kind of tower moment, although I'm not taking those cards because there's too many of them. And then more cards just kind of jetted straight across my lap just now. So I don't know, there's something going on in May that seems pretty powerful, pretty like dropping. Here we go. So for May, we got the Three of Swords. So a lot of feelings are coming up here for May. A lot of... So for one, if this was in regards to you coming to terms with like reality and what's outside of reality and anything related to something of that nature, then I feel like there's something that happens in May that continues to shatter your reality some more. There could be something that happens and it makes you question everything. It makes you ask, like, it makes things difficult, because I feel like for some of you, you're going to go through something really intense here. You're going to go through something that completely changes everything. So I'd be mindful of any transits that are going on in May, and look at your chart and see how the transits are affecting your chart in May, so you can basically just see what's going on and what's affecting you directly. Okay. And even if you don't find anything, be mindful that there are still other stars, as well as asteroids and dwarf planets and all that good stuff that are affecting us all the time as well, just on a lower level. For the most part, some asteroids are pretty powerful, no matter their size. I mean, look at Pluto. Pluto's extremely powerful, and it's not even like bigger than the United States. Like it's incredibly small, but it is quite essentially the underworld and everything related to that archetype. So that could be another theme that is occurring for you. So we do have Pluto moving into Aquarius here, and if it's already in Aquarius, I'm sure... I really have not been paying attention to the astrology lately. I've been busy with everything else, and that's why I don't call myself an astrologer, or I don't like to call myself one, because I'm not always paying attention to what's going on. And so anyways, yeah, like it seems all over the place. I'm a bit all over the place. And honestly, this reading has been like really tense, and like I have like, I'm full of anxiety, and so you want to be mindful of that for 2025. Maybe you are dealing with a lot of anxiety, but because we are here in May, and I did see the Tower card, I feel like there's just something really big happening this year. And May could be the month where everything happens, or it could just be like a prelude or even a finale to something major in your life. So, and that's interesting because I said three different things that could happen, and there's three swords. So again, in these readings are going to manifest in their own ways for everybody. Everyone's going to have their own experience of this card and of this energy and what it represents. And so, yeah, I feel like although we are dealing with the Three of Swords, I do feel like things are going to get sorted out, because it's like it's a harsh reality. It is like, you know, when Neo pulls that shit out of the back of his neck in the Matrix and wakes up. You know, it's quite intense. It's quite, you know, it's a shock to the system. It's a shock to your brain, in the sense that like you're breaking through something here. You're breaking through a barrier. And what's great about this is that on the other side, and it's interesting that there's an ambulance driving by. What's interesting is on the other side is that you are going to be saved. You are going to reach a place where you are safe and you are abundant and you do rise to the top. And we'll probably see how that goes throughout the rest of the reading. We should see the progression of that. But I do feel like there is something else on the other side. You just have to get over this. You know, it's pretty difficult, but I do feel like things are going to get sorted out. It is more of that having to accept things that are difficult to accept or perceive on your own, because, you know, it seems quite challenging. It seems like a quite challenging month. And it seems like a challenging year, but I feel like it's not going to always be this vibe or this energy. It's just going to be periodically. But for May, especially, and according to this reading, this seems to be the major theme for you guys. But I do feel like, again, once again, things are going to get sorted out. Things are going to become clearer, because swords bring clarity. Swords bring justice as well. So if you want to look at it as something karmic, like there's something about this that you had to experience, whatever, for whatever that reason is, whether it's some past life thing you did or something you did in this life, or just, they say we come here to have an experience and to perceive reality, the physical reality. And so that seems to be like what's going on here. I kind of just lost my message, and so we're just gonna go ahead and move on. But yeah, that seems to be the major theme for you in May. So for June, we got the Lovers, and so this is great because things were looking pretty rough there in May, and I did say that on the other side of all that turmoil, there's something great and something better. And here we are in June, and we are receiving something great and something better. And so there's more of that energy of like the clouds clearing away, although this time the earth isn't all moist and soggy and wet. It's, you know, it's just like regular. It's just normal. I do feel like things are clearing for you, and I feel like you have a closer connection to source or to God or whatever it may be for you, you know, a higher, just the higher reality. I feel like you could also accept things that you are struggling with when it comes to accepting reality and all aspects of reality and everything outside of reality as well. You know, Neo waking up out of the Matrix, essentially. I feel like you're in a good place now where you've reached Babylon, essentially, where you've reached a place where things are just like, where everything makes more sense, where everything is, you see the connectedness. It's like you reach a place of oneness. You went through the depths, you went down below, and now you've rose to the surface and even higher, to where you feel that oneness and connection with the universe. And so for some of you, you could be having a Kundalini experience as suggested by the trees. And, so this would be a good month for spiritual practices. Although, fair warning, if you are dealing with some kind of Kundalini activation, please know what you're doing, okay? Because the first time I activated my Kundalini, it was quite an experience, to say the least. I knew it was coming, but I didn't know it was gonna last for months. Like, the feeling I had afterwards lasted for like 3 months. And so, but the experience was, a panic attack, essentially. That's what happened to me. I became completely disconnected from reality, but I got through it. I got through it and became much wiser, and, things definitely became the Lover's card for me when it was over with. And I've had many activations since. Sometimes they can't happen without you really doing anything at all. I've definitely had those experiences where they kind of just happen and occur. So be mindful of that. Maybe you're going to have like little mini Kundalini experiences. And just know that if you do start having a panic attack, especially for no apparent reason, that you are just waking up energy inside your body that has been dormant for a very, very long time. And so it's gonna shock your system, and so just know that you're grounded, and know that you are being divinely guided. Like, this is an experience to bring you closer to the universe, to the divine, to God, and whoever. We are dealing with Gemini energy, and I've mentioned that earlier when we got the Magician card, which was in April. And so April and June can be connected in some way. Think about what happened in April and how it relates to you this month in June. Relationships could also be improving. You could be starting a new relationship, or things in the relationship could be advancing. You could also just feel more connected to people, with nature as well, with, so it could also be pets. You just feel a connection to other souls, especially to souls that are very intertwined with your own. This is a good month to stop and slow down as well, and to just take things easy and just be in a state of receiving. I think it's important to be in a place of receiving and also just stay grounded. I feel like you finally got both feet on the ground. Okay, so June's looking really good for you guys, and let's move on to July. For July, we got the Fool card, and so July is going to bring you so many new beginnings. I feel like for everybody, you are going to embark on a whole new journey. So it's quite possible you completely ended a cycle last month in June. We had the Lover's card, and that was really profound because it finally brought you to the other side of whatever it was you had to deal with. And now in July, you are being given a new opportunity to start something completely new with your life. It's not necessarily like a restart, although for some of you it could be, where you are like getting a fresh restart, a second chance. But for the most part, I feel like brand new opportunity, and going on a journey you have not been on before, even if it is a second chance or not. So this is really, really exciting. I feel like this is a good month for studies as well. You could also just be receiving a lot of synchronicities and like confirmation. You could be getting confirmations from all the experiences you were having. That was something that I've experienced before, where if you embark on the spiritual journey on your own, like you go within instead of having a guru or reading books or watching videos or whatever the case. Like, instead of getting information from the outside world, and you go and get information from within. I remember doing that and coming out of it and finding other people saying certain things to me that confirmed what I went through was like, wasn't just something I made up or anything. Like, it's a real thing. Like, it's a real experience that people have, which I didn't know before because it was just something I was going through. I mean, I'm sure I knew that, like, I'm not the only one, and that's definitely not what I was thinking as I was going through it. But it was so personal to me that I didn't realize, like, this is what you are supposed to experience when you experience these sorts of magical spiritual things. And so in July, you could be receiving that confirmation from all the work you've been doing, and like realizing, like, oh, there's a name for that, you know. And and it's pretty cool because with that, you are able to really trust the universe and like see how everything they say in books, these things really do happen. I feel like a lot of worries disappear for you this month. I feel like instead of the clouds clearing, you are above the clouds essentially here, and you're not alone. You do have a companion, you do have a guide. So you could be meeting a guru, or you're just receiving synchronicities and confirmation from people and things and whatever it may be. And so it's like the universe is speaking to you through this companion, this dog. And I don't mean to flip you off there. It looked like I was flipping off. It's funny because my dad points with his middle finger sometimes. It's really funny. I think it's like an artist thing. I don't know. Like, a lot of artists tend to do that. And so, yeah, like, there's this dog here. So you have like I'm seeing it as like the universe is guiding you, and it's whispering in your ear, and like letting you know, like, yeah, like this is okay. Like, what we're doing here is fine. Like, oh yeah, like walking off this cliff is totally fine. You know, you could trust me. Which sounds crazy, but that's the Fool, you know. I guess that's why he's called the Fool. So yeah, like, that's just the vibe for you in July. I think it's pretty exciting. I feel like a lot of your anxiety disappears, especially if you have Kundalini activations. It could really clear up your anxiety. I mean, although it might give you a panic attack in the process, it could actually, like, when you come out of it, you feel so much lighter and things are just more clear to you. So that could just be what you experience in July. For August, we got the Queen of Swords. So we finally arrived to August, which begins Leo season halfway through the month. And so happy birthday to all the Leo August born Leos. And so, yeah, we're here at the Queen of Swords energy, which is Libra energy. On one end, you could be receiving justice in a situation, and it could be justice from June, when we got the Three of Swords and everything you had to go through in June, or just justice in general. Whatever the situation may be, that seems to be the highlight for you in August. Okay, so this is an archetype you may be stepping into, which is the Queen of Swords. And you know, she's very diplomatic, she's very understanding, she listens to both sides. It's Libra energy. She's able to weigh both sides. She's able to practice discernment and keep things in balance, and keep things in order. I feel like some of you are probably law students, and I'm trying to remember. I have a client that's a law student. You are who I think you are. I can't remember your placements, but either way, I feel like, yeah, something about law student or dealing with the law here, because it is Libra. I feel like maybe you could just have like an interest in law, or just some kind of archetypal energy that deals with law, and whatever that means to you seems to be a theme here in August. Again, you could just be adapting to this archetype of that Libra, of that, you know, this is the way things are and the way things should be. We should follow the rules. You know, that's definitely an energy of Libra. They like to follow the rules. They like to be fair. They like to play it safe. They not very big risk takers, which is a debatable thing to say because they could also be seen as risk takers, because in tropical astrology, this is Chitra nakshatra, and so Chitra is a bit extreme in one end where they like to they're it's into like the personification of identity and character. And so when you think of people who are Libras and have Libra placements, so like Doja Cat, Snoop Dogg, they're Libras, you know, they have like a very noticeable character about themselves, and they're also pretty transformative. At some point in their life they'll completely change their appearance and that sort of thing. So even if it's just like appearance and not so much personality, that's something that Chitras tend to do. Like they just they like to play a character. It's kind of interesting. And so that could also be a big theme for you in August, especially because it's your birthday month. You know, Leo likes to play a character. They like to mimic as well. And Libra likes to do that too. Libra tends to mimic. They can copy people. And I think it's just a way for them to adapt or a way for them to relate when they copy somebody. Sometimes people see that as like being fake, but they're just trying to like keep things in the balance. And by balancing, they tend to match your freak. Like they match your energy. It's not being fake. Like they're trying to match your freak, guys. Like don't get mad at Libra. Yeah, that's the vibe for August. It's like a mix of Leo and Libra energy that we're getting here. So like again, diplomatic, practicing discernment, being able to have empathy as well. That's like another theme for Libra, you know, and also just like being able to share something new and innovative with other people. I feel like you could be back in a place where you're expressive, but it's more from a place of not so much like philosophy, but it's more like you're a little more rational, a little less dramatic and expressive, and a bit more just kind of like monotone or just rational. It's there's no act. You're not pinning on an act here when it comes to your self-expression. All right, so that's what we got for August. So I'm not gonna lie, this reading is it's quite interesting for me. I feel all kinds of stuff. I can't explain it, but this reading's been quite energetic. So honestly, I was supposed to record 2 readings today. I might just record just your guys's just to get this energy out. So that could be another sign for you guys to continue to express yourself and to get it out of your system. Like that's going to be a big thing for you to do this year. In January, definitely take it easy, go within for that self-discovery, and then once February's here, like get it out of you. Like do everything you can to get it out, because if you keep it bottled up, it's gonna be a lot for you to handle, and you're gonna have a lot more anxiety than is needed for you, especially with all the Kundalini activations. Like you want to get rid of as much anxiety out of your system as possible before entering into those states of consciousness. So for September, we got the Knight of Wands, and so things are going to really pick up here. And this seems to be the month where you're able to finally get up and take action, as well as see things start to move forward for you in your life. We do have Mars, as I'm recording this in December 2024, we do have Mars in retrograde, right? I don't know. It's funny because although I don't like pay attention, I still watch the astrology videos, so I'm still like receiving the information, but I'm not like remembering it. I'm just like I'm paying attention to more what they're saying and not the transits themselves. And so yeah, I'm pretty sure Mars is in retrograde right now. Either way, it's gonna be in retrograde for some time, and it's retrograde in your sign, and it's going to go back into Cancer. And so September, it's possible that Mars goes back into Leo or isn't back in Leo. Either way, it could even be past Leo. And so either way, I feel like this is when you're not gonna feel that Mars retrograde energy anymore, and you're going to be able to really kickstart things and really push forward now. And so I feel like this is the month where you could finally see things progressing, and this is definitely a good month for you to finally take action on stuff. Or the beginning of the year and the first half of the year seems to be all about personal development and like more internal work. I feel like September you can finally do the external work. And this is Sagittarius energy, so this is the kind of archetype you could step into, or you could be dealing with a Sagittarius, or look at what is going on in your chart wherever Sagittarius is placed. And so this could be a time where you are more ambitious and more focused on the goals and focused on making progress as well. This is more about going through the motions of things. Fire is a very creative energy, and the wands do represent creativity, and it's Sagittarius, and so it deals with process and the journey as well. But it's more about the process. It's more about what you do along the way, where Capricorn is the end result, and Capricorns like to just get it done and get to the finish line, so they tend to do everything on their own. Sagittarius is more about like not necessarily taking it slow, but just they're more focused on what needs to be done instead of the goal. And so this is just a great month for progression and for just working in general, making improvements and making progress and just, moving forward essentially. So that's what we got for September. October, we got the Chariot. And so continuing from September to October, we have that forward progress movement. Now we've entered the Chariot phase, where the progress is still moving forward, but it is a bit slower. I think it's a bit more calculated. This is Cancer energy. It's all about your legacy. It's all about the destination and where you come from. Okay, and so this is what is going to be a focus for you in October. September was all about progress and taking action. October is about the destination and what it takes to get there as well. It's a bit more calculated than the Knight of Wands. Okay, it's the Knight of Wands tends to be a bit more sporadic, and it can just do things without really thinking. It kind of just does it, or there's really no time to think, you gotta go. And the Chariot is a bit slower, but it's not so much about the slowness or the speed of the Chariot. It's about the decisions you make. And so because the Chariot, this is the charioteer, and so he's in charge of the reins. He's in charge of he's in charge of the engine essentially, or the steering wheel. And so you have to be focused in order to operate a car or a chariot. You can't just go. That's what's going to happen for you guys in October. I feel like you're going to be concerned with your personal improvement once again. I also feel like you're more aware of your appearance, or maybe you want to be seen more in October. You want to stand out more, but I feel like you're going to struggle with, you want people to see you a certain way. You don't want people to see you any different than how you're seeing yourself. And so you could struggle here with that. You could struggle with the ego, but I think you're just trying to make a statement. You're trying to get people to see you for who you are, even. If you are an artist of any kind, I feel like there's something you could be releasing in October. So maybe quite literally an album, or some kind of painting or something, whatever it may be. Although I do feel like it's music. I feel like you could be really concerned with your image. So this is public image. So you don't have to be an artist, just the way you're being perceived in your image. There's some kind of issue here where you want to have control of other people, or more control of your image as well. So it could be both, or it could go either way. So yeah, that's really interesting. I feel like you're really self-aware this month. I feel like, and I'm thinking of this meme or this reel I saw on Instagram where this guy said, the way I dress is the way I will be addressed, or something like that. And so like that's the vibe I'm getting as well. Like if you're in a suit and tie, like people are gonna address you a certain way, obviously. And so I think that's like another thing. You could just be putting yourself out there the way you want people to see you, like I've mentioned, and that is, you know, putting on a suit or something like that. So yeah, that's what I'm getting for October. Let's go ahead and move on. For November, we got Strength card. And so November, I feel like you're really gonna be in your element because this is a card of Leo, and this is the strength card as well, and that has to do with your own personal strength and your own confidence. So November could be a month where you feel a lot more confident. I feel a lot more in your element, more alive. I feel like all that you did in September and October is starting to align with who you are as an individual. I feel like you could reap the rewards as well. There's abundance in November. There's results in November. Also, something about respect. So, some of you who struggled with being respected are going to finally receive that respect that you've been seeking, or maybe it's something you validated in yourself, and so now everything that you validate in yourself, the world is validating in you as well. Which, don't get it twisted, it's not how manifestation works per se. You could feel like complete shit and still attract amazing people that see the light in you. But overall, I feel like the way you feel about yourself and the way you want people to perceive you will be like mirrored back to you in November. Like people will see you for who you are, and also accept you for who you are forever, for whoever was struggling with acceptance as well. So there could be something major that happens in August. I mean, this is, or in November, this is Scorpio and Sagittarius season. I don't know what the planets are doing, so there could be some kind of activation happening for you. You know, it is a month of transformation. It is a month where the veil is thinning between the worlds and the nature is going to sleep and all that stuff. So I feel like, so it is about transformation and growth and that sort of thing. And so that could be another occurrence for you in November, some kind of growth and transformation that brings you to the Strength card and the archetype of the Strength. I feel like work is going to be really important. So whatever you do for a career or as a job, I feel like you can get recognition for the work that you've been doing. So even if you aren't working, I feel like you're just going to get recognition overall for who you are and something you've done, and it has a lot to do with the work you've put in. And so I feel like people are noticing, finally people are respecting you. That's where the respect is coming in, because not only it's like your words match your actions, you know, all the self-expression you were doing this year and then all the actions you took in the past few months, it's like it's aligning for you in November. And so there's a lot of respect here to be earned. All right, so that's what I got for November. For December, we have the Five of Swords. And so December is quite interesting. I feel like you're going to retreat here. It could be another month of introspection and a month where the clouds come back in. Honestly, the bottom of the deck is the Tower. What's at the top? The top of the deck is Four of Pentacles in reverse. Okay, so December is going to be a bit interesting for everyone. I feel like it's gonna be a serious month, but I feel like you're gonna be still in a good place. Okay, I don't think you're gonna end up, because again, like, you have your feet on the ground and it looks like this guy is collecting swords. This is generally a card that means that it's like after the fight there's a victory, but like at what cost? There could also be defeat as well, and you're just picking up the pieces. And so it could go either way. It's not necessarily good, it's not necessarily bad. It's like, it's very neutral, but it's sword, so again, it does deal with justice. For whatever reason, diplomacy seems to be a big thing here, but it's like, this is Venus and Aquarius energy, so there's some detachment to the situation. So whatever it is, it's not gonna, like, it shouldn't leave you depressed or anything. It shouldn't ruin your day or ruin your month. But there is something here that's taking place. There's something you're gonna have to give up, but also something that you're gonna retrieve, something that you have to get back. So it could be something that's like a material item, or it could just be anything, something that you have to get back. You have to lose something in order to gain something back. There's something you have to give up, there's something you have to admit to, there's a defeat you have to take. But again, it's that same energy I was getting earlier, where you had to go through that Three of Swords energy earlier in the year, but on the other side there's something better. I feel like it's the same thing, but it's more, you're a little more involved, to where you are dealing with like other people and the outside world, whereas before it was a little more internal. Although things in the outside world could have triggered it and put you in that position, this is more to deal with like other people and the physical reality. Okay, so I think that's why it's not going to affect you too much internally and emotionally. I mean, it could, but it's not going to be anything too serious. It's not going to be anything you can't handle. So some kind of truth comes out. This seems to be a big theme this year, is truth and shedding light on a situation and coming to terms and like breaking out of the matrix and things like that. There's a lot of personal growth, a lot of transformation, a lot of spiritual experiences, a lot of just like everything, connecting to the universe, having very spiritual experiences, having maybe even like religious experiences, to where like you see angels and maybe you're not religious. That's an experience that I've had several times. I don't consider myself Christian or anything. I don't practice religion, but I do believe in them, and I do believe that these things exist, like angels, and I've seen them for myself based on from my own spiritual experiences. And so it could be like that, where you see like religious figures and stuff. And so that's cool, because it's like another month where you receive confirmation that like these things are real and they exist. They just don't necessarily exist in this physical reality. Like, you have to go somewhere else mentally, somewhere else within to get to that place. Okay, yeah. And then like with the Four of Pentacles in reverse or something, it's gonna be hard to give up, but I also just feel like you could receive something too. Like, you're gonna get something back, so you might have to give something up temporarily, and then you'll get it back, like borrow money or something. I mean, and it is December, so it's the holidays. So maybe if it is dealing with money, you have to just spend money on gifts and buy things for everybody, provide essentially. In the Four of Pentacles, he's a bit of a hoarder. He likes to hold on to what he's got, but within reverse, there's you have to get some of that away. But because it is the holiday season, you're going to give away, but you're also going to receive. People are going to give you gifts, people are going to give you treats and good vibes and all that other good stuff. Maybe your boss will get you a really nice bonus or something. So there seems to be that sort of vibe going on for you. Yeah, so I'm just gonna end it there. That's what I got for you guys in December. So, Leo, thank you so much for this reading, for this opportunity to give you this reading. It's really been interesting. I feel a lot. It started off pretty rough for me, just like really nervous, like really anxious. It's not so much nerves. I mean, although it is my nerves, it's more of just like anxiety, and I was really feeling it before I started this reading, and I felt it all the way through the reading. It really just wanted to come out. You know, I found myself running out of breath a few times. It just needs to come out, and you want to let it out at your own pace, at your own speed, okay? So I'm just gonna end it all here. Thank you so much for watching, and I really appreciate your presence and the opportunity to read for you. So take care, and all the best wishes for you, Leo.